Well, hi, this is Daisy from Gephardt Daily, and today I'm talking to Pablo David Lausarica, who plays Jared in the national tour of Dear Evan Hansen. And we're totally looking forward to welcoming you guys to the Eccles Theater in Salt Lake City. You're coming here February 28th to March 5th. And I just wondered, Pablo, if you can just tell me, first of all, what your journey has been into professional theater. How did you get here?
Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here. I'm excited.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, no, my journey has been a pretty not conventional one. I actually started with opera. That was my degree in school. In high school, I knew that I was going to do opera, and then I went to Northwestern University in Chicago for voice and opera performance. But while I was there, I did a lot of musicals, and then I joined the musical theater certificate program. And from there, I just kind of realized that like my passion for storytelling through music led itself more towards musical theater. So I started to audition in the Chicago theater world, ended up with an agency, and just kind of went from there. I've actually auditioned for Dear Evan Hansen specifically, like I think like 4 times. I did the first time I auditioned for it, I was like a sophomore in college.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so it's very interesting, the journey that a lot of people have. It's always never where you expect it to go. But yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds kind of unexpected because you just said you got into opera in high school. That seems like quite an early age to get into that genre.
Yeah, my parents they weren't musicians, but they were very into music. So they taught me how to love music from a very early age, but they were very into opera. And I was like, yeah, I could do this as a high schooler. I mean, I couldn't sing it very well, but
And then you said you auditioned for Dear Evan Hansen 4 times. Can you talk me through like what that process was like to you getting cast?
yeah. Oh my gosh. So really, I auditioned for it the first time when I was a sophomore. The show had just been running for, I think, either a year or a little less than a year on Broadway. It was still relatively new. And they had an open call in New York. Just anybody can come in and audition. They were looking for a new Evan. And I was like, great, I'll go just for the heck of it. And I went in and I auditioned, and they called me back in for Jared, actually.
Oh, okay.
Even then. But then nothing really lined up then, because it's always about like what people are looking for. This is something that I always tell people, like up and coming actors and stuff like that it's like you never really know where an audition will take you, because I auditioned for it the first time when I was in college, but then I auditioned one more time when I was in college, and then one last time. No, I guess it was 3 times, but it was all spread out. And one last time, right, like in the beginning of 2021, or rather the middle of 2021. And then that was finally the time where they asked me to come back into New York, came in to see me for Jared, and then the rest is history. So.
And how long have you been with the show?
I've been with the show for about 7 months now.
So
Yeah.
most people are familiar with Dear Evan Hansen, but I wondered, like, personally, how you would describe the show, and also who do you think should come to the show that maybe has not been before?
Yeah. So I'll answer the first of describing, because although this show can be described many ways, there's the answer that gives you what you need to have so you can be interested without giving you too much, which is it's about a high schooler who suffers from depression and anxiety, who gets caught in a lie that was never meant to be told, about a letter that was never meant to be seen, and that's vague enough for people to be like, ooh, okay. But really, the way that I would love to describe this show is just that this show is about a very modern reflection of what it is like to deal with mental health in many facets of our society, both as a high schooler and as an adult, because there are adults in this show. And a lot of folks think that because the show does center around high schoolers, the demographic is high school, middle school. But I've had many adults come to my mom. When she first saw the show, she was surprised with how much she related to all of the adults in this show, because this show deals with so many things: depression, anxiety, grief, all through this lens of hope and this belief that you can work and you can get better and better. And that's what I believe that the show is about: a bunch of people who have journeys that they're trying to overcome, but they are always trying to be better. And that is something that I think is very beautiful. And to answer the question of who I think should come to see this show, I think anybody, but I think even if you are somebody who maybe you haven't watched a lot of musicals, or you haven't exposed yourself to a lot of musicals, this is actually a lot of people's first step into musicals, if it wasn't already like Hamilton or Cats, because this is something that isn't like the showmanship, dancey musical theater that people might be used to. This is more of a sit with feelings and have music that reflect those feelings kind of show. So I would recommend anybody. I don't want to limit it to anybody specifically, but yeah.
And it sounds like as well, it can be a great conversation starter too, for some really important conversations.
Absolutely. It's really interesting, not to like take that and run with it, but like we've had a lot of parents come see the show because their children want to come see the show. And because this show does a very, very good job of depicting what it's like to be a parent, and how it feels like you're always struggling. Not that I am a parent, I'm not trying to say this from personal perspective, but that like when parents are like really struggling to really do the best for their children, but maybe it isn't seen by that child, and vice versa, this show does a really good job of bridging that gap and making sure everybody understands what everybody else is going through. So yeah.
And I was also super curious. I'm always curious about this, but how do you like touring, especially with so many young people in the cast? Is it just a blast?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it's really fun. This is like a family. I know that, I'm sure you've heard that before from like other shows and that, but this is really like a family, because the beauty of this show is that they were very meticulous about the folks that they hired for the cast. And I think that the thing that connects everybody in this cast is that we all kind of understand this perspective of anxiety and depression and these things, that the story that we're telling. So we all kind of have this built-in understanding of each other, that it's like we're all just human beings, we're not trying to like put on this fancy show. We're just like people telling a story about mental health. And we just became close because of that mere concept. And being on tour is really fun. Every new city we go to, we like to take like the first day and like text the group chat and be like, let's go explore whatever. We have activities that we plan. So it's a blast.
Yeah, and it must be fascinating as well, because I saw Dear Evan Hansen last time it was here, and just putting a show of that size and with all the technical elements into a different theater every week or 2 weeks must be exciting and crazy too, I would imagine.
Absolutely. And we have a lot to thank for our local and our constant crew, our backstage crew, who they load all of that off the trucks and within 24 hours manage to put up the entire set. And I'm sure, as you've seen from the show, it's very elaborate. So a lot of respect and admiration goes to them for that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are on tour till July. Is that right?
Yeah, till the beginning of July. I think July 2nd is our final performance.
So what are your plans after? Are you auditioning yet, or are you going to wait? Or
Yeah, so I've already been auditioning for a few things. Some things are in the works. Like I'm a Chicago-based actor, but I believe that I'm trying to move to New York. You're now witnessing like the process of me trying to like figure out what I'm doing, but that's, a lot of people think that that's like kind of a downfall to this industry, right? Like that, like after each gig, it's like, what am I going to do next? But to me, I'm just really excited at the opportunity of anything that comes my way and anything that I reach for and grab,
And so what's on your bucket list? Are there some opera roles you want to play, or any particular theater roles that you're just dying to play?
That is a great question. Oh my gosh, I've never been asked that. I love well, a bucket list of mine is actually to direct opera, because
Wow.
I've found that opera can be pretty easily inaccessible because a lot of people think it's like, oh, it's opera, it's boring. But opera is where musical theater like came from. That's like the storytelling and the drama is still very there. But yeah, I'm an actor. I have a lot of dream roles of musicals that I would love to be in. I'd love to be in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, Hunchback, all the good things.
And I imagine going on to Broadway might be one of those goals.
Definitely that
Yeah.
is, yeah, I suppose, if I have the time.
Yeah, if
Um,
you have the time.
yeah.
Love it. So just to recap, you guys are coming with Dear Evan Hansen to the Eccles Theater February 28th to March 5th. And I know that people here love this show, so we can't wait to see you. Tickets to saltlakecountyarts.org or 801-355-2787. And I really appreciate your time, Pablo. You told me you're in San Francisco, so have a great rest of the run there.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
See you so soon. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. Have a good day.